Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of A Midwest Conversation. Today, we are going to talk about Biden's first speech to Congress, addressing his first 100 days in office. Before we do that, I want to remind you, Substack.com, MidwestConversation.substack.com. Subscribe there. You get this video, it's already on there, one day before it goes up on YouTube. So subscribe there, you'll get it a day early, and you'll get access to written pieces that I put together. And I'm working on a new one regarding a follow-up to a piece I did earlier in the year, or in the month. No, this will go out in May. So last month, put out a piece about the bird migration. If anybody knows me, I'm a big bird photographer. It's a lot of fun. And there's a lot of stuff going on with the migration this year regarding COVID guidelines. So go read that, and then the follow-up is coming very soon. It's going to be interesting. So, enjoy this video, and I'll see you when I see you. On Wednesday, April 29th, 2021, Joe Biden gave his first speech in front of Congress to discuss his first 100 days in office. Overall, I thought the hour-long speech was acceptable. Nothing out of the ordinary, standard issue Biden. Nothing to write home about, nothing over the top or controversial. Overall, I thought his tone was very presidential. Caring and warm, addressing all that we've lost in the pandemic. Still, later in the speech he mentioned China and others that are betting against America. Here his tone shifted. He was firm and confident that America is, quote, on the move again, and it is a very bad idea to bet against America, end quote. I liked hearing Biden sound like a more robust and powerful commander-in-chief rather than the frail, struggling to string together a coherent sentence old man that he seems to be. The first part of the speech was how the American Rescue Plan was a significant success, adding 1.3 million jobs to the economy, giving out stimulus checks, and giving out 220 million doses of the vaccine within the first 100 days, after pledging to give just 100 million. Yes, the vaccine rollout has been a success. At the time of writing this, the United States has given over 240 million doses so far, and a total of 1.1 billion have been delivered globally, that according to Bloomberg News. Creating jobs is always a good thing, but I can't help but roll my eyes when Democrats talk about the groundbreaking and life-changing stimulus checks. Don't get me wrong, the checks helped out a lot of people, including myself, but a measly $3,200 over one whole year is hardly life-changing and groundbreaking. The first significant plan that President Biden introduced was the American Jobs Plan, the, quote, blue-collar blueprint to build America, end quote. Vice President Kamala Harris will be at the helm of this plan that is said to be the largest jobs plan since the 1960s. Over 8 years, the American Jobs Plan will replace 100% of lead pipes in the country, provide high-speed internet to all Americans, critical infrastructure investments for roads, bridges, 20,000 miles of new highways, and thousands of miles of transmission lines to improve the nation's power grid. President Biden acknowledged the fact that the climate crisis needs to be dealt with. The way to do that, in his view, is, quote, jobs, 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 jobs. The American Jobs Plan will have additional funding for electronic cars, batteries, wind turbines, and charging stations. President Joe Biden also called on Congress to pass the PRO Act and raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. He did so just after saying, quote, rich people did not build this country. The middle class built this country, and unions built the middle class. President Biden announced the American Families Plan. The American Families Plan will include extending the child tax credit granted in the COVID-19 rescue bill to the end of 2025. Also, in this plan, the families whose Affordable Care Act premiums were lowered during COVID will not go back up. Those premium rates are now permanent. Also, there's a lot of funding for education in the American Families Plans, which Dr. Jill Biden will have a large hand in. This includes guaranteed pre-K for low-income families, and middle-income families are guaranteed not to pay more than 7% of their income on childcare. President Biden announced there will be extensions to accessible and affordable higher education with 2 years of community college. Gun control and healthcare were the last topics of the speech. About a week ago, I made a video detailing President Joe Biden's speech about gun control. I'll leave that link in the description below. Healthcare was something I was curious to hear how he was going to approach. My biggest takeaway is that Medicare will now have the ability to negotiate drug costs with drug companies, not only for those older people on Medicare, but for all Americans. President Biden said, quote, the money we save will go towards expanding Medicare and getting the age of the eligibility down. How will we pay for it, I hear you asking? President Biden made the bold claim that the way to pay for it is to make the wealthiest companies and people, quote, pay their fair share by raising the corporate tax and increasing the capital gains tax for those who make more than $1 million a year. 55 of our nation's largest corporations paid $0 in federal tax last year, and Biden promises that no person making less than $400,000 a year will pay more in tax. President Biden also pitched ending loopholes in the corporate tax code by eliminating safe havens and foreign bank accounts. Then he said something which frankly I was shocked to hear. He said, quote, trickle-down economics never worked. And I believe most people my age, younger millennials, and older Gen Z individuals have already figured that out. Trickle-down economics doesn't work, and it's never worked. And it's time to build the economy from the ground up, not the top down. President Biden also goes on to talk about how the war in Afghanistan has been going on too long, and we need to get out and bring our troops home. He then followed up by advocating to pass legislation for a pathway to citizenship for Dreamers. Overall, I thought the speech was very good for his first in front of Congress, but I do believe it was a lot of posturing and virtue signaling. We'll see how much political will he wants to muster to get anything done with Congress so evenly split left and right. I want to end on one note. Something he said during his last speech regarding gun violence, quote, no amendment to the Constitution is absolute, end quote. I did not pay much attention to it the first time I heard it. Then in this speech, he reiterated it. And it got me thinking. These are very hazardous words. I understand he might not mean it in a way to cause harm, but think about what he's really saying. No amendment to the Constitution is absolute. Really? What about the first one, or the 19th one, or the 15th one? These are powerful words coming from the leader of the free world. Now, do I honestly think Biden will take any American's birthright away? No. But what these statements will do is give the radicals on the other side ammo to make the outlandish claim that America is heading towards a socialist communist country. The sentence will be used by Fox News and Newsmax and other right-wing outlets to fearmonger and gaslight their audience into really believing that their freedoms are under attack from those crazy liberals. So, a couple thoughts on the speech. It was an hour long, which I was pretty much expecting, and it was fine. I wasn't really upset. I wasn't really floored. I mean, the whole trickle-down economics never worked. That seems like someone else wrote that for him. We'll see how much he actually wants to get done in building a different economy that works from the ground up instead of the top down. Whatever. The Medicare, expanding Medicare, and it sounds to me like he's just going to expand the subsidies for Cobra, which is one of the big insurance companies that works with the Affordable Care Act. So it's just another giveaway to corporate, insurance companies. I do, though, like how he seems very determined and he seems very serious about bringing the troops home from Afghanistan. The wars in Iraq and Afghanistan have been going on pretty much my entire life, and it would be kind of nice to see, that stop. Then he went on to talk about the PRO Act. I think that's going to be one of the hardest things to pass. The PRO Act, essentially, if you don't know what it is basically giving workers more power and making it easier to organize. That's going to be difficult, especially because our government right now is so split evenly down the middle, and there's a lot of pushback against unionization. So we'll see where that goes. The child tax credit extension to the end of 2025, that one struck me. I actually said out loud, holy shit, when he said that, because that's a long time to increase or to extend that tax credit. In some cases, some families will make an extra $4,400 per year. So that's, pretty good if you're, a lower or middle income family with kids and you're struggling to get by. That'll help you out a lot. It's almost $5,000 at the end of the year. It's kind of nice. So overall, the speech was all right. He seemed like he was on it. He seemed like whatever they shot him up with before the speech worked for the hour that it was supposed to work. He didn't stumble very much. He didn't fumble over his words like we've seen before in the past. It was nice to see a president actually talk like a president. A nice break from the last 4 years. But we'll see what happens. This is his first 100 days. Vaccines have been going good. He seems like he's got a lot of good plans to help people But we'll see, We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and you subscribe and you share it with a pal. Don't forget, I'm also on Substack. This video that you're watching or just watched right now is already there. If you subscribe to the Substack, midwestconversation.substack.com, you get the video one day before everybody else on YouTube, and you also get full access to written pieces that I've put together in the past. So go over there, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I will see you when I freaking see you.